Welcome to Box Free with Stephanie. Today I want to show you how to make some basic foods with simple ingredients from scratch. And I hope you discover cooking box free is fast and delicious. So let's cook together. Today, because it's almost Valentine's Day, we're going to make a rich, yummy dessert, a fudge truffle cheesecake, which is something I don't make very often because it is so rich. And I don't really love the ingredients. I don't know. I guess it's just the sweetened condensed milk. But anyway, my point is, I don't make it often, but it is delicious, and I really do like it when I need something kind of special and very rich and yummy. So I'm doing 1.5 cups of walnuts because I rarely do like a cookie crumb crust when I make a cheesecake. Just don't like that I have to like buy cookies and then use that, and so I've never been a big fan. So I do walnuts, 1.5 cups of walnuts with 1/4 cup of sugar. Actually, I'm going to add that in a second. And then I add the butter, and that becomes my crust. So let's chop. All right, I'm going to make this into a really fine, nice powder. Okay, now I'm going to add, it's pretty good, but I want it a little bit finer. I'm going to add 1/4 cup of sugar, like that. We'll blend these together. It's really important to have a nice fine nut crust, I think. Otherwise it can get too chunky and almost like fall apart on you. So if you don't have a nice food processor, you might be able to get away with like buying nut stuff like this. I don't know, I guess I've never had to, but you could try a blender. I don't really know, I guess. Maybe you'll have to do the cookie thing. But cookies have to be crushed, and then yeah, I guess you could use a rolling pin and all that kind of thing. So now what I'm going to do is get all my amazing nuts out of here. And I can see the butter in there, the sugar. So I'm going to get every last drop because it's so good. Okay, and then I need to get this out of my way. So put that over there. I'm going to actually get this out of my way because this is a big old thing that I don't need anymore. All right, now, so I have 1.5 cups of nuts, 1/4 cup of sugar, and this is 4 tablespoons or 1/4 cup, right? Yeah, 1/4 cup of butter. So I'm going to just blend those all together, and it will make like a granular crust, crumbly kind of crust, pasty thing. And then that is going to be my crust. And I always make this walnut crust when I do cheesecake. And I like it because it's just, I guess, a little bit less sweet than like the graham cracker or cookie crust. But officially, this recipe does call for a chocolate crust. So you just make chocolate wafers. You buy chocolate wafers, whatever that is, and you buy those cookies, and then you grind them up and you add your sugar and your butter just like this is. Okay, so here's my springform pan. Okay, they're special because they open up like that. They're supposed to release. They release like that so you can keep your sides all beautiful. That's the whole purpose of it. So versus like a cake pan, you have to like dig it out. But every time I make a nut crust, my pan kind of leaks and I get butter kind of all over. And I want to do a water bath, so I just got a piece of foil, and I'm just going to put that around my pan, basically so that when I do my water bath, I don't get any water in my cheesecake, because that'd be a bummer. And also keeps my butter from my nut crust in my crust. Okay, so now I'm going to just smash it by hand here. We're going to just put all this in here and make a nice flat bottom. So this is all just done by hand. I suppose you could figure out a way to use a measuring cup or something, but I just always press it out. And it's really like sticky and stuff, so I'm going to try to just use one hand. But you are just flattening it out so that it's level. And then I've already got my oven preheated to 350 because it's really important to pre-bake this kind of crust. I don't know about a cookie crust, maybe it is for that too. But what it does when you pre-bake it is it basically gets the butter cooked with the nuts and like makes a crust, kind of like seals it up, maybe seals it shut, so that when you put all your wet ingredients in, they don't get into the nuts, kind of, you know, because now it's going to be a sealed surface. Okay, and I used to do like up the sides and stuff, but I've kind of stopped doing that. I don't mind the look of having just cheesecake around the edge and not the crust, but if you want the crust, you can kind of squish this up. You just push it up along the sides. But you might need another, like a little more ingredients. I mean, my crust is probably about that thick right now, which I think is really a nice thickness. But I know that I've pushed this up the sides, and you can even push it up the sides just a little bit if you want, versus like some crusts go like halfway up your pan, so you have a really nice crust when you take it out and serve it. Okay, here's a chunk of walnut that I just don't want to leave in there. Like this chunk here. That's what I found. So I was going to eat that, because that would leave a little like hole or almost like a spot for my crust to not be perfect. Okay, that's it. It's pretty fast. So now I'm going to lick my fingers because it's all sugary nuts. Yum. Okay, I'm going to set the timer for 12 minutes. Get the stuff off my fingers so I can keep functioning. And then we'll keep going. Okay, now we're going to make our filling. Okay, let's make our chocolate, what is it, a chocolate truffle? It's like chocolate what? Fudge truffle, not just chocolate, but fudge, because it's that good. I'm going to eat these nuts too. That's what you can do when you cook at home, is lick all your good stuff off. Okay, let's see here. I need this for my cream cheese and my eggs. That's going to come later. This is for my chocolate. Okay, so what I'm doing is melting my chocolate. I don't know. I suppose you could do it in the microwave, but I don't have a microwave. So I need 2 cups of semi-sweet chocolate chips. So, and then I'm going to put it in my pan, and I'm just going to melt this over like a low-medium heat until it's all beautiful and smooth. So that was a hefty one, like not hefty, but a little bit more. Okay, I'm just a tad shy. So I got my other brand here. I do like Ghirardelli chocolate a lot versus like Nestle, and definitely better than the other generic type brands. If you ever get the chance, I would do a taste test of chocolate chips, because it's really amazing how different they taste. In my opinion, kind of the no-name or the cheaper ones, what am I looking for? They taste like sugar versus chocolate. So they're much more just sugary instead of chocolatey. So when I'm making something that you really are going to taste the chocolate, like a ganache or fondue or cheesecake, where it's really like chocolate and then a couple other ingredients, I always use really higher quality chocolate than the cheaper stuff. But whatever, chocolate is still really good. So what I'm doing here is just melting this slowly without any moisture. If you get any moisture in melted chocolate, it will totally like seize up, totally stop working, which is not what you want. So I have this over just kind of a medium heat. And then, what am I going to do? I'm going to beat my cream cheese. So I have 3 bars of full fat cream cheese, which I definitely recommend the full fat when you are making a cream cheese, or a cheesecake. It just really has, I think, a better texture and probably a better taste for sure. But it's just worth it. You know, this cheesecake is something you don't eat like, well, you shouldn't eat like a ton of it, and it's a special thing. And so I would recommend just going for it and buying the full fat cream cheese. And this has been sitting out for like an hour maybe to get it room temperature. So have my eggs. When you're making a cheesecake like this, which is basically a really rich custard, you want your fatty ingredients to be kind of out and room temperature so that all those liquid kind of fats can, those solid fats can be softer and blend together better, and that's kind of the goal of all that. Okay, so we'll stick that here, and now, I better stir this. This is melting nicely. You just want it to melt kind of slowly. You're not in a major rush here. And when you're doing this on a double broiler, which is another method you could do, it's important that your water underneath isn't like just crazy boiling, because then the steam will come up and maybe get into your chocolate, and then that will make it seize up. So, and if you boil it, if you melt it too fast, like now mine's getting too hot, it will start to like seize up or get like, thick on the bottom, I guess. So my pan got too hot because this hot plate's a little bit hard to deal with. So it's a little too hot. But that's okay. It's not like burning. If it would have been burning, I would have been pretty sad, because that might have caused me to have to come up with a plan B for my chocolate here. But this is looking really good. So this is almost too hot. Whoa, what did I get there? Cream cheese, I think. We're just going to stick this on here. I think that the residual heat from my pan is going to be enough. See how nice and melty it is? It's not like perfectly smooth yet, but I think it's going to be there. Okay, in the meantime, I'm going to beat my cream cheese until it's light and fluffy, which will take a little bit of time. All right, so here we go. Okay, we are fluffed up, and this is not melting as quick as I want it to. It's still got too many chunks. I'm going to stick it back on the pan because this is just a little bit hot still. All right, so now what I'm going to do is just, see, this isn't like super fluffy, so I'm stopping because I finally got it to where I could kind of work it all, instead of like the thick bars. And I'm going to blend this just another second. Just wanted to scrape this down, and then I'm going to add my sweetened condensed milk, which is really why I don't like this recipe. I'll get to that in a minute. Okay, so hang on, I'm going to blend it another second here. Get rid of that ugly thing. Okay. All right, we're going to call that good. Okay, ooh, oh my gosh, I almost dropped that. All right, now I'm adding one 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk, which for some reason, every time a recipe has this, I just don't like it. But I did look it up to see, like, what is it exactly? And it really is just sugar and milk. And you can make your own. You just take milk, whole milk, and then sugar, and you just boil it. So I decided, okay, I guess I don't really want to do that just for boiled sugar, kind of boiled milk sugar. Even though every time I use this, I don't know, something about it seems so processed to me. I just don't like it. But I'm using it. And I have a fudge recipe that I use this in also. It's really similar to this. It's like, I swear this is like that's probably why they call it Fudge Truffle Cheesecake, because my fudge recipe is basically chocolate chips, sweetened condensed milk, vanilla. That might be it. It's kind of crazy. So this is why this is such a yummy, rich dessert, because it's really rich ingredients. Cream cheese is rich. This is sugar and milk. That's pretty rich. We're adding eggs and chocolate. So it's good. It's definitely good. All right. Now I'm going to blend this until it's kind of smooth. I'm not going to go too crazy, but I just want to mix it all in and get it smoothed out. Okay, so that only takes about 20 seconds, and I'm going to scrape my sides because I haven't really done that a whole lot yet. And you can kind of tell, but that's okay. It's not a problem yet. But if you don't scrape your sides, then you end up with you know, the cream cheese or whatever ingredient kind of not blended in. And you want it all blended in. All right, so I'm going to call that good enough because I don't want to really over whip this stuff. Cream cheese, I always feel like you don't want to just whip it until you're dead with it. You know, it's supposed to not be so beat up kind of. All right, so now, the only thing I do is my 4 eggs, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and my chocolate. And my crust is done in 20 seconds. Ooh, that's good. Okay, let's do that. Let's see. We're going to put that right here. I want to scrape this chocolate out. That's why I haven't kind of gotten rid of that yet. I like to really get all my last bit of ingredients out when I can. All right, so what am I doing? Let's get our crust out. Okay. Ooh, it looks perfect. Okay, so it's all bubbly and stuff. And I'm going to let that just sit for a few minutes. Oops, I don't want to turn my oven off. Oh my gosh, I got to keep that on. Actually, I think I need to turn it down. I want 300. Oh my gosh, I got like cream cheese all over the place today. Whew. Okay, 300. Because I want a low cook today. All right, so what am I doing? I am adding the rest of my ingredients, I think. I add the chips and the rest. So we're going to let this cool for a minute longer. I'm going to stir it just to try to get rid of some of that heat. And then I'm going to add my 4 eggs to my cream cheese batter. Yeah. All right, there's one. And I've done it different ways. My one recipe says to like add 1 egg and then blend it in. This says do it all at once, but I can't really. I gotta do my 2 eggs because for some reason I feel like you're supposed to, my regular just vanilla cheesecake says add an egg, mix it, add an egg, mix it, add an egg, mix it. So I'm gonna kind of do what I'm used to, even though the recipe here says add them all in. I'm just gonna do a quick thing here, not too crazy. Okay, just like that. I mean, the thing about cooking is everybody does it differently, and we all have our little likes and dislikes, you know. I'm impatient, so I overdo my chocolate, and I am used to doing 1 egg at a time, and then this recipe says don't bother, and like, how do you know what's right and what's wrong? And you just do it what you've experienced before, or what feels right, or what the recipe says. You can do what the recipe says too. So now I've got my 2 eggs in here. Now I'm comfortable adding the rest of my ingredients, which is basically 2 teaspoons of vanilla. So I did 4 eggs if anybody was watching. That's basically 1. And this is 2. And my chocolate, which it's going to be fine. I was going to see how hot it is. But the bowl isn't like crazy hot. Actually, I do have to see how hot it is. I don't think it'll be okay. Look at how messy I am. Whew, wow. Okay, yeah. So let me just make sure I'm ready then. All I'm going to do is put this in here, mix it up, dump it in. I got my water. Okay, I'm going to sit for 2 minutes. I'm going to just make myself, actually no, I'm going to do this first. I'm not going to do it. Oh boy. Okay. I didn't sit for 2 minutes. I'm really not very good all the time. But what I discovered was this chocolate got a little hard, and so I think I just need to add the rest of it. Anyway, I felt like it was like chipping, I don't know, making little flakes or chips. And I want it to be all perfectly smooth. But I think it's going to be. By the time I get done blending it, I need to be patient and blend and trust my recipe. I mean, I have made this recipe a few times, not like 25 or anything, but I've made it plenty of times where I know it works, and that's why I keep it, even though it's rich and it has sweetened condensed milk, which I don't like, which I have to get over. But my point is I keep it because I like this recipe. It turns out really good. Okay, I think we're ready. Let's see. Mix well, pour it in, and you're done. See, it like looks gorgeous, doesn't it? It looks like the smooth fudge that I was hoping for. This doesn't look very pretty over here. Let's see if I can get all that scraped in and added on. But it all worked out. You know, I only make this maybe once a year, maybe twice a year. And you know how you always like, well, I anyway, start doubting yourself and, oh, is this really the way it is? And like, it is, because if it isn't, I always have notes on my recipes like, ooh, that was too salty, or like, this one says rich and yummy, because it is really rich and yummy. And that's a real scientific word, yummy. Now, it actually tells me like that I like it a lot. Okay, I'm just going to whip this in really quickly. Woo! Okay, then I splattered everything because I always want to get as much off of my batters as possible. And that's just sometimes really hard. But there's like all this yummy batter that I want to get in my food. Okay, that's it. That's all it's going to be. Okay, this looks delicious. Woo, okay. Now, it's a little chaotic, it feels like, but it's working. Okay, now I'm going to dump this in. My water is boiling. That's perfect. So what I'm doing is making a water bath, because this is a super thick custard. And custard takes a long time to bake. And just like bread pudding, a water bath kind of makes sure that the outside doesn't cook too fast and the inside is raw or undone or whatever. So the water bath just kind of makes it cook a little more evenly and slowly. And I have done cheesecakes without the water bath, and they're pretty much fine, but I don't know. I'm going to go for it today and try to get that perfect cheesecake, which is funny because I'm not feeling so confident about my filling here. Even though it looks beautiful and smooth, I'm still like, And look at how full this pan is. Woo-wee! It's like baked full. Okay, I don't like all these little white things I'm seeing in there. I want it to be perfect. Whoopsie, I shouldn't scrape that off because that's full of a bunch of junk too. Okay. Whoopsie, and then I just spilled some on the pan. Oh, golly. Okay, what I'm trying to do is make it look a little pretty, because this is kind of how it's going to look, I think, when I pull it out. All right, and then sometimes I like to slam it to get air bubbles out. All right. Okay, we're ready. Okay, hang on. Hang on. I want to put this in my pan. Oh boy, there's screaming again. Okay, now I'm going to fill this up. And you're trying to get it like halfway up the cheesecake pan. That's my goal, without getting any water into your cheesecake. But even if you have like barely an inch, I've done it where I don't feel it, I don't know, for some reason I don't feel it very full all the time. I guess because I don't have enough of my water. That's it. I got an inch tonight. That's all I'm doing. Okay, we're going to throw it in the oven. Here we go. Ooh, that's a little bit hot right there. Okay, it's kind of heavy with all that water. Okay, it's going to be delicious. I can't wait. I'm going to set my timer for an hour and 5 minutes, and then I'm going to check it. And what I'm going to check for is like a jiggle. And if the whole thing jiggles, it's not done. And if like just the center like jiggles, then it's done. Because it's going to kind of continue to cook for a while once I'm done baking it. So we'll be back in an hour and 5 minutes. All right, see you soon. Okay, we are back with our lovely cheesecake. It's been in there actually an hour and 20 minutes. And what you're looking for is when you jiggle it, that it just jiggles in the middle. So hopefully you can see that. When I checked it at 105, it was like the 2/3 and the center completely jiggled, and that was just not done enough. But the water bath, there's no cracks. I'm not expecting to have any. It's going to be gorgeous and taste delicious. So what I'm going to do is let it sit in here for at least 30 minutes, and then I'll take it out of the water bath and set it on my counter for like an hour, hour and a half, and let it cool down even more. And then I'll put it in the fridge for at least 2 hours, if not overnight. It's best to let a cheesecake cool very slowly and then a very long time before you actually serve it. And I guess I can take these things off. But it's looking absolutely gorgeous. I can't wait to cut into it. So I cannot cut into it right now. It'll totally wreck it, and it's hot, and cheesecake isn't supposed to be 300 degrees. So if yours takes longer than the hour and 5 minutes, just let it bake until just the center part kind of jiggles just a little bit. And then it will cool slowly and beautifully. And that's it. So that's it. That is our fudge truffle cheesecake. So thank you very much for watching Box For You with Stephanie. I hope you like this show. I hope you try this cheesecake and it turns out rich and yummy, just like it says on my notes. And your family thinks it's great. So I appreciate your time watching the show, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.